All right, let's read and react to some sound from around the NFL, starting in Carolina, where wideout Adam Thelen likes what he sees from Bryce Young in his second camp with the Panthers.
It's just been a great offseason to just see some of these guys who haven't been in the league very long, just the way that they've come in with confidence. You can tell Bryce's demeanor in the building. He's just more comfortable, right? And you don't realize it when you start getting to be a veteran guy just because you forget about those times.
Yeah, Mina, only year two, already so many changes around Bryce. You think he takes a big step forward in this next year?
I think he can improve a lot, in large part because of the pieces that they've added at wide receiver and on the offensive line, but equally because of their decision to hire Dave Canales as their head coach. I think improvement would look a lot like what we saw from Baker Mayfield, who, coming out of Cleveland, we thought of as this play-action-centric quarterback, but Canales really put him in the gun and asked him to go to work and get the ball out quickly, and I think Bryce would benefit from a similar setup. Baker led the league in dropbacks out of empty last season, which is one of the areas where Young actually performed fairly well. So I think if Canales can find ways to play to his skill set the way he did with Baker, that to me would go a long way towards making this season more successful for him.
Let's go to LA next, where we have a huge question to answer this summer. How do you replace Aaron Donald? Safety Quentin Lake was asked about it, saying, quote, yeah, sometimes you talk about, are you going to replace him? And as we know, you can't replace him. You can't replace Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is the greatest defensive player that we have seen. And Les Snead did a great job finding guys to fit our scheme, our new defensive scheme. Guys like Kobe Turner, guys like Bobby Brown, Byron Young. The young players, the young up-and-coming talented players are ready. RC, how should they go about replacing all that production, though?
So we just going to ignore that Mina just popped up out of the floor and Laura knew exactly where to look?
You're
so that's
there
what
too.
we're doing today? That's crazy. Listen, when you look at this team, they spent their first 2 draft picks on defensive linemen, but it is going to be replacing Aaron Donald by committee. Also, they're going to have to understand there will be no triple teams up front. And so are you going to bring guys from the second level? Will Ernest Jones become a large part of that pass rush? Can you lock up on the outside enough in man-to-man, bringing Darius Williams back where you can add extra guys to the pressure? For so long, they were able to rush 4 because they had Aaron Donald, one of the greatest defensive players that's ever lived, that can beat double and sometimes even triple teams. They've lost that luxury, so now how will you add to it? Can these young guys step up, and can you do it schematically?
Now you're going to go back down into the floor. Right now. Goodbye. Okay, to Minnesota next, where they drafted J.J. McCarthy in April. A new teammate, Cameron Bynum, likes the roster the Vikings have put together around the young QB.
I expect the Super Bowl. I know everybody says that, and everybody should say that. But you look at the guys on the team, you look at the locker room, all the experience that we have. We look how much depth we have, especially on the defense. So many guys, it's almost weird looking around because you're like, okay, how are we all going to get on the field? Because there's so many ballers. You look at the offense, there's a baller at every position when you look across the whole board. So that's why I'm confident when I say I expect us to be a Super Bowl team.
But Adam, I think the big question is, should we expect to be J.J. McCarthy, see him out there week 1 as the starter?
Well, Laura, that's something that he's going to have to determine in training camp, because the Vikings are going into camp with Sam Darnold as their #1 quarterback, taking reps with the starters. That doesn't mean that J.J. McCarthy couldn't win the job during training camp. He certainly could. But Darnold has the advantage going into camp, and maybe the Vikings want to set it up that way while J.J. McCarthy continues to learn the offense. We know eventually J.J. McCarthy is going to get the chance to start. The real question is whether he will be able to do it in time to do it in week 1.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how all that turns out. All right, the next step in the TV magic is a sound effect when everyone goes away, but I'll have to do it for now.